Hello and welcome to Bondi Yanga, where we push and give you information when it comes to decent housing for all. So it's all about giving you that knowledge as well as bringing in key stakeholders to find out how you can acquire your bit of decent housing. So with that said, we are taking a look at our first topic in this, our first episode, which has to do with how to legally acquire land in our beautiful country of Zambia. And joining me and representing one of our stakeholders is none other than Madam Alice Goma Muka, who is a senior lands officer from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. She's joining us under the Lands Department. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm fantastic, and I'm excited to find out what information you have, not just for myself, but indeed for all Zambians who are entitled to decent housing. So by the end of this, our first episode, you will find out what legal steps are required to actually acquire land, as well as verifying ownership and the risks of acquiring land without proper documentation. So these sound like very, very interesting topics, but also very impactful when it comes to decent housing for all. So allow me to start with our first question. What is the difference between state land and customary land? Because a lot of us have heard those terms. What is the difference?
Initially, the difference is that when you talk about state land is something that is already numbered, while the traditional land is land that is not numbered. Traditional land is the land that comes from the chief. Initially, for you to acquire that traditional land, initially you have to be registered by the headman, or if you bought from someone in the village, still more you have to register by the headman. Once you register by the headman, then the headman will take you to the chief. And actually before that, you have to make sure that you engage someone that is a planner who can do a site plan for you. Once a site plan is done, then now you go to the headman and you have to fill in, as an applicant, you have to fill in Form 1. Once you go to the headman, to the chief, definitely you know you're supposed to pay homage, and there's some issues that you're supposed to sort out with the chiefs.
Okay. So both state land and customary land will obviously involve transacting at some point. So what is the first thing I need to do or know when it comes to paying for any piece of land?
Like for traditional land, I would not say the amount because it varies. Some they pay homage, some they charge them at a certain fee. Once they pay, that's when they can process their papers until they go to the local authority, because they don't come direct to Ministry of Lands. They pass through the local authority. Initially, when you are given a traditional land, as an applicant or as a sitting tenant that side, I'm supposed to engage a planner who is supposed to do a site plan which shows the boundaries of my land. Once the planner does that, then I take that site plan Form 1 to the chief so that the chief can endorse. Then also the chief is supposed to fill in Form 2. That is land Form 2, where he endorses. It's like a consent letter going to the council, and also the site plan is supposed to be endorsed by the chief. Once it goes to the council they normally sit. They have two sittings. There's one that we call PWD, then there's also one which we call full council. Once they sit, then council recommends now that person to Ministry of Lands. Then Ministry of Lands, they start the process.
Okay.
Whilst the state land is the land that is already numbered. The council might advertise, then an applicant applies, and that person will be called for interviews. Once you are called for interviews, then once you go through, then they will make you fill in the Annexure A. The council will sign, and they will forward the recommendation letters to Ministry of Lands for the process.
Okay. Now, it sounds like you are very busy making sure that people acquire decent land for all and decent housing for all. But unfortunately, the scammers are also busy, Madam Alice. So how do we make sure we avoid the risk of fraudsters? How do we verify that what we're doing and what we're purchasing is genuine?
We always emphasize to say anyone who wants to purchase land, please, they have to come to Ministry of Lands. Yes, quite okay, we have issues on the ground, but we always emphasize to say, for you to know that this land is genuine, come to Ministry of Lands, do a search. You can come to our offices through Customer Service Center. You can come to our offices through Lands Department, even through Lands and Deeds Department. They will be able to tell you to say this is not genuine and this is genuine.
Now, thanks for highlighting the very reality of the excitement and sometimes anxiety, the eagerness to get the process done. But just remind us once again, what needs to happen? What do we need to make sure of to make sure we have the right documents?
Initially, we have, if you want to know the ownership, someone has to produce the offer letter, if it's not yet on title. If it's on title, they're supposed to produce a title, a certificate of title. Yes, and once they produce that, that purchaser has to come to our ministry to come and verify. Because yes, we have received fake titles, even offer letters. So once they come to our offices, we'll be able to verify and then they can proceed to purchase.
Okay. Now, on this series, we feature critical stakeholders in the process. So what is the role of the local authority when it comes to land acquisition?
As I'd said earlier, to say the role of local authorities, those are councils. As you are aware that councils are our agents. They are the ones who look for land where it's available. They are the ones actually who process the paperwork from the local ground or local authorities to come to Ministry of Lands. Initially, we rely on them. We cannot manage, as you are aware that we are not in the grassroots. We are just in the provincial headquarters. Now, in the local authorities, they're the ones who help us to look for land, and they're the ones who normally interviews those people. We only receive the recommendation to those people who have been accepted.
Now, Madam Alice, you've made yourself accessible for this episode. How accessible are the institutions that are needed for this process to us, the general public?
Initially, we have 10 provinces and we are all there. And also in the local authorities where we know that we cannot reach people, but we have our agents, that is the councils. Please, if you want to acquire land, go through the councils, especially those people who are coming from local areas. Please pass through the councils, they'll be able to help you. Initially, just to add on, we have a new system called Zealous. Please, for those ones who are able to use their gadgets, once you get your documentation from the councils, you can upload your documents and actually apply online. That is when I would say those people who are very busy, please, you can do it at your own pace. No even getting time to say, let me go to Ministry of Lands. Please, you can do it wherever you are. It's accessible and it's genuine. I would say we are receiving the documents through online and we are processing online documents.
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much. Sounds very convenient. And thank you very much for informing us on that one. So remember, your comments as well as your feedback or any further updates are all accessible on our social media platforms. So let's keep the conversation going. We'll keep disseminating the information as we strive to give decent housing for all. So thank you once again, Madam Alice.
You're welcome.
Bondi Yanga, I made sure I was a very window, the learning color, Bondi Yanga.
In the heart of Chilanga, just a stone throw from Lusaka's bustling center, lies your gateway to an extraordinary life. Kwatu Hills isn't just a housing development, it's your dream community coming to life. Surrounded by the breathtaking beauty of nature, where every day is a serene adventure. Kwatu Hills offers more than just a place to live. It provides a sanctuary where comfort meets eco-conscious luxury. Envision your future amidst proposed state-of-the-art amenities designed for leisure, recreation, and all your lifestyle needs. Enjoy unparalleled support with 100% financial options for both purchase and construction. Contact us today. With ZNBS, it's possible to build, buy, or renovate your dream home now.